You don't fall into addiction because you're careless. You fall because something inside you was shattering, and the substance became the only structure holding you together. Addiction is a prosthetic, an emotional brace around a fractured self, a desperate improvisation of survival. Jung saw it as a pact with the shadow. Maté saw it as an answer to pain, not pleasure. The Stoics saw it as the moment the mind abandons command and escapes into impulse. Every compulsion, weed, alcohol, screens, food, sex, control, is not a vice. It is a message, a signal from a wound you never learned to metabolize. The first abyss. Denial that protects the pain, not you. Denial is not ignorance, it's strategy. You deny the addiction because accepting it would force you to confront the pain it protects. Maté said it without mercy. The question is not why the addiction, but why the pain? Your brain defends the habit with biochemical narratives because losing the habit means losing the anesthesia. This is why denial feels like safety. It's the locked door of the shadow, and behind it lives the true author of your impulse. Ask yourself the question your ego avoids. If nothing changes, where will you be in 5 years? The discomfort you feel right now is the shadow trying to speak. The biopsychic cycle that turns any habit into a prison raw emotion lasts 90 seconds. Everything after that is narrative, and narrative becomes suffering. Dopamine rises when you use. The brain compensates by producing less. The drop becomes torture. The substance becomes anesthesia. Addiction creates the hunger that only addiction can satisfy. You mistake tension relief for growth. Watch the moment before the impulse, that small, trembling pause. That's the true trigger, not what comes after. The seed of addiction, the emotional desert of childhood. Addiction begins long before the substance. It begins in the rooms where you cried alone, parents present in body, absent in soul. A childhood where your emotions had no witness. Your brain adapted, your dopamine systems, your opioid systems, your stress circuits, all sculpted by the absence you normalized. The child who learned to soothe alone becomes the adult who seeks chemistry to survive. Ask the buried question, who did you need back then and didn't have? Addiction is not about pleasure, it's about replacing a caretaker who never existed. The existential void, the wound that demands anesthesia. Nietzsche warned us, the modern self lives without myth. And where there is no meaning, dopamine becomes religion. This society manufactures dependence, hyperstimulated, numbed, obedient. Addiction repeats because it tries to restore a lost emotional order. It appears exactly at the point where meaning collapsed and the soul went silent. List everything that once mattered to you but doesn't anymore. Then ask, why did it die? Weed as a mirror of the age, instant relief, slow disintegration. Ancient cannabis was ritual. Modern cannabis is machinery. The paradox is brutal. It works, and that's why it traps. Deep sleep erodes. Anxiety rises. Motivation dissolves. You outsource calm, creativity, sleep, and social ease to a plant that demands nothing and takes everything. If you can't stay 30 days without it, it's no longer a choice. It's architecture, neural, emotional, symbolic. The silence that terrifies more than the substance. The real addiction is not to the substance, it's to noise. In the night, with the phone glowing and the ritual ready, your soul whispers the truth you keep avoiding. Silence is the enemy, because silence reveals everything you buried. The shadow writes the impulse. It's not the desire to smoke, it's the desire to feel. Sit in silence for 5 minutes. Do not move. Do not soothe. Let the discomfort show its face. Ask, what am I afraid to perceive when nothing distracts me? The alchemy of impulse. Desire as raw material liberation doesn't come from avoidance. Jung knew this. You do not free yourself by avoiding, but by going through. The impulse is not poison. It is raw vitality, neutral, fierce, misplaced. There is a third path, not resisting, not surrendering, transmuting. When the impulse rises, do the smallest opposite act. One breath, one line written, one step away. What you illuminate loses power. What you avoid becomes your ruler. The fall, the shame, and the myth of failure. Relapse is not the problem, shame is. The brain learns through repetition, not perfection. What feeds addiction is not the fall. It's the rumination that follows. Every replay strengthens the circuitry you are trying to dissolve. Separate the fact from the story. The fact, a biochemical event. The story, I failed. Name it with technical neutrality. Event, not collapse, not weakness, just data. Healing as return. No one breaks free alone. Trauma is born in isolation and only dissolves in connection. Belonging reorganizes a wounded brain. Seeing your story reflected in another breaks the spell of shame. Find one person who knows the whole truth, your clarity partner, a witness. Addiction is loneliness. Healing is reunion. Closing, addiction is not your weakness. It is your doorway. No one becomes addicted seeking pleasure. Addiction is desperation, a fragment of you trying to come home. Freedom begins the moment you stop trying to kill the addiction and start listening to it. The shadow, once integrated, becomes strength. The impulse, once understood, becomes energy. The void, once named, becomes direction. So ask the only question that matters: what inside me needs acknowledgement, not punishment? If this journey unsettled something in you, good, let it move. And if you want this kind of truth to keep finding you, subscribe. Tell me in the comments which part of this mirror cut the deepest. Like it if it confronted you. Share it if someone you know is still hiding behind a mask. The algorithm doesn't awaken people, but you can.